look, the weather has been what the weather has been. I hope you got your flu shot, but now it's time for a little shot of vitamin T. Perfect timing for that as well. It's time for a conversation with Teresa Tomeo. Teresa, we all watched you during the March for Life, 52 years in. I have to say this, looking pretty young and spry there. I mean, there are a lot of young people at this March for Life, 52 years later.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's one of the reasons why I love covering it. And, we just literally pull people off the street and do these live, as we say, MOS or Man on the Street interviews. Now, I'll have to say, I've never had a young person who wasn't informed, who didn't have a specific reason for being there, who wasn't enthusiastic about the cause. So that is one of the most encouraging things about the march. It was large. I haven't seen yet, and I've been looking for it. Students of Life always does a time lapse. But I'm telling you, it was long. I was trying to get to Jerry Usher was trying to get to me because he was there, and I was trying to interview him. It was one of the first times he had been there, but he texted me, and he said he was way, way back. He couldn't even get out of the rally. It was so crowded, and so he was backed up like 2 or 3 hours. It was a great experience, but it was a beautiful day, and it was. I was telling Sean, it was kind of strange because we're standing there, and most of the day it was sunny and 45. I can't remember a day we had over, 25, 30 degrees in the last several years. So that felt very balmy. And then thinking about what would come, obviously the next night in Washington, which got clobbered by the storm. So we were grateful all around. It was a beautiful day, powerful day.
So what was like the thing that stood out? Because you've been doing this for a long time, Teresa. So what stood out to you this year?
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was how the conversation, no matter whom I interviewed, always went back to the abortion pill and the fallout of the abortion pill. I had the chance to spend some time on air, a good 7 minutes, with Dr. George Delgado, who wrote the book and came up with the whole procedure of the abortion pill reversal. And he is, again, talking about that nearly 3/4 of abortions today are done chemically. And that is frightening if you consider the fallout from that, in addition, obviously, to destroying the life of the baby, the danger that women are in. And now you've got these medications, so-called medications. I don't want to call them medications because that gives an inference that they help people.
Right.
These pills coming from overseas where you can just get these through the mail. And I don't know if you saw this, but during the March for Life, Live Action actually put out an undercover video showing how Planned Parenthood and other abortion facilities are treating these pills and telling these women, no, you don't need to come in, you're fine, we don't need to know the gestation of the baby, we can get you the pills, don't worry about it. I mean, it's just over the top. As Dr. Delgado said, it's the wild, wild west out there now. So that kept coming up over and over again in all of my interviews.
That's scary. And, of course, huge crowds, and you always do such a great job mingling folks in and finding people. You say you get them randomly, but it seems like they're all pre-screened because they're so focused on what they're doing. And, of course, you can't miss it with all the media coverage. Never mind.
Well, the media coverage at EWTN, yeah.
Oh, that was fabulous.
Fox News was there. I'll give them credit. They started even before we did. Rachel Campos-Duffy was out there very early in the morning doing live shots at 7 a.m., so I was really thrilled with that. And then there are a few other conservative outlets that do cover it, but not like EWTN. They throw everything at it, and it's months and months of planning. And I'm just honored that they let this, as I said, to Peter Gagnon, our head of EWTN Studios, and he was on Catholic Connection last week. I said, thanks for letting this old news curmudgeon. I'm obviously the senior member of the staff, if you think about my age, being involved in the event.
Yeah, he didn't start off as the oldest member of the staff, Teresa. I remember many, many years ago, and all of the wonderful gifts that you have brought to EWTN as their news product has continued to grow as well. So thank you for your contribution over all these years. But what was your sense? I know that you're gathered there. All the young people are excited. But as far as our standing in the pro-life, as far as the pro-life issue goes, what's the sense you're getting from people? Do you think that people are getting the idea that we're moving forward on this? Are we in a place where we're just protecting the ground that we've gained?
No, I think people are well aware, and that's why they keep marching. Everybody talked about when Roe v. Wade was overturned in 22 that we wouldn't have to have the march anymore. And it's just the opposite impact because people are realizing that they need to work together, even though many of the battles are now at the state level, especially with the abortion pill and some of these amendments. Michigan, if you recall, was ground zero for that horrible abortion amendment that put abortion as a right in the state constitution and had all these other horrible things. Well, they carbon copied that and took that all over the country in several different elections. Now there's one
Right.
coming up in, I believe, Virginia this year. And so people are realizing they need to work together. But they're also realizing that because the movement is so young and there's so many prominent people moving up in the movement, it's really quite encouraging. And these kids weren't just there as part of their school. The people with whom I spoke were involved. They were involved in their local pro-life chapter. They understood the issues. The one young man that I interviewed, it was his first time there, and he was carrying a sign in remembrance of Charlie Kirk, talking about how he wants to promote family and fatherhood. Guys, this kid was like 16 years old, and he's talking about his future as a Catholic and what his high school does. So I really felt a sense that we are in good hands, and I think having this march every year is a great way to come together and encourage each other. So I hope it doesn't stop. I think we need that. I think we need that encouragement. But I do think the fact that the abortion pill is causing so many problems, I think that is going to be an issue that at some point, Dr. Delgado said, could be a class action lawsuit or more people coming forward whose lives, both physically and emotionally, are being destroyed by that pill.
Yeah, that I think is, I agree, Teresa. I think that is going to be kind of the direction that we're going to be looking at. So what other things were you involved in? Were there any ancillary things that went along with the march that you got involved in?
Actually, really, what I just do is I concentrate on being one of the field correspondents. So we have to organize the interviews, some interviews beforehand. For example, we have at least 3 hours of coverage before the rally begins, and I went on the air with the scene setter at 9:30. So it's very purposeful in terms of what groups are we going to have speak in the morning, and then once the march begins, and you start looking for people, who are taking part in the march. So my objective is always to say, okay, what groups are doing some really interesting things this year? Whom can I tap into? And all of the guests were fantastic that I had. So I really just concentrate, Pat, on my role in the march as one of the field correspondents and try to use my experience as a reporter to make sure I'm covering a variety of different topics.
Did you get any comments on Vice President Vance's talk or speech that he gave from any of the people you interviewed?
A lot of people loved it. They thought it was also very sweet that he mentioned that they practice what they preach because they're expecting baby number 4. He made that a highlight of a speech. Most of the people were just commenting on who were there for the first time. I did speak to a lot of people who were there for the first time. They were commenting on the numbers. They were overwhelmed by the crowds. Even Jerry Usher, that was one of the first times he was there, and he was really moved by the number of people. And I always love to see so many seminarians that are there, and they come with their seminary. So that, I think, was a really strong sign of so many young men interested in the priesthood, and also the religious sisters when they're walking down the street in their full habit. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
These gatherings, obviously the march is important to gather that pro-life people might be encouraged and inspired to continue to do the work. We need to do this outside of this as well. We've got a great opportunity coming up in our area Grand Getaway this summer with corporate travel. That's coming up. Pretty special speaker involved with that one as well, Teresa.
Well, John announced on Catholic Connection last week. He had the exclusive, as we say in the biz. We had on Catholic Connection, Bishop Robert Barron from the Diocese of Winona, Rochester in Minnesota is going to be our keynote speaker. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think he's one of the most prominent and positive communicators of the faith that we have this day. He is amazing. Yeah. I love the way he expresses his faith. I love the way he's real, but he's so intelligent and knowledgeable and expresses the teachings of the church beautifully. I also love his ministry toward beauty, where he brings people to different places through his series, Catholicism. So, yeah, Grand Getaway this summer, I'm sure that's going to sell out as well. And John told me there's going to be a few other surprise guests coming up. So that is in August. It's, I think, the second weekend in August, and that'll be on my website and also on the corporate travel website as well.
Yeah, and we love it. We've got a segment with Corporate Travel called Oh, What a Beautiful World. It happens every Thursday here on Morning Offering, and we're not offended in any way. We're not put off in any way that you get the exclusive. It doesn't bother me. I'm not even put off by it at all.
You're not bitter? You're not
bitter at all. No, I don't even talk about you behind your back or anything. Nothing. No, it's fabulous.
All right.
Hey, what are you scribbling really furiously with your pen? It's almost violent.
Thank you for all you do, Teresa.
You too. God bless.
Bye-bye, Teresa.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.